Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today we have to talk about Apple because I literally just talked about Meta, aka Facebook, in the same vein a couple of days ago. I gotta be consistent and practice what I preach here because Apple's new future VR headset looks like it's gonna be a privacy problem as well. And as I mentioned, I literally just did a video slash podcast on this. I just talked about it today on my nationally syndicated radio show if you follow me on the radio, so look for that in the next couple of days on your local station. But what I talked about then was Facebook or Meta's new Quest Pro VR unit being a privacy nightmare, and it looks like Apple is basically going to be right in that zone as well. Now, this is coming from the Daily Star out of the UK, but this is interesting and also concerning. Apple is rumored to be working on a virtual reality or mixed reality known as XR headset next year, which will ask users to basically scan their eyeballs so that you can use that to log in, pay for things, use apps, etc., etc. Now, this iris scanning technology will allow users to easily switch between user profiles, which means different people can share the same headset with ease. In other words, this rumored tech would work just like iPhone's existing Face ID and Touch ID unlock tools. In other words, what they have to do is essentially keep your eyeball on file. If I'm going to pop on these glasses and somebody else was using these, they're just going to say, hey, wait a second, these eyeballs are not the previous eyeballs. This is somebody new. They're going to have to keep that information in the same way that while they don't take a picture of your face, they are keeping the face mapping in Face ID. If you didn't know, Apple has been selling that to third parties for improvement processes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So not exactly as private as Apple would like. And now they're going to have another biometric, your eyeball, which is essentially akin to your fingerprints, meaning your eyes are not mine, mine are not yours, or anybody else's on the planet, and that goes for everybody. That's a huge problem. Now, Apple has not officially confirmed whether it's working on a VR or XR headset, which is basically set to be revealed next year. However, according to the publication, The Information, two Apple insiders who claim they helped develop the headset say that it is going to actually feature this iris scanning technology. Now, there's no word yet on how this feature would affect user interactions with content on the headset beyond unlocking it, although eye tracking features could be very useful for generating analytics data on user engagement or even controlling the headset itself. This is essentially what Facebook is looking at as well. The new Quest VR that I talked about on the Meta side for their metaverse has 5 internal facing cameras that are looking at your facial expressions, all these kinds of things. So if you wink or look frightened or surprised, they're going to start to understand this. They're going to keep and track this data. Again, they are going to keep and track this data. And so they are going to have an understanding of you emotionally and biometrically that they've never had in the past, which will turn their advertising up to the nth degree. Apple, I think, is going in this same vein because based on patents, Apple has been basically toying with the virtual reality tech for almost 2 decades, and they are widely expected to announce this. And on top of that, Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, who has provided reliable information on iPhone launches in the past, claims that the headset is due out for a 2023 release. It should be later in the year. Later in the year is typically when Apple launches their phones and all that kind of stuff, so it would make sense to have a VR or XR unit basically in that vein as well. It will likely have an app store specifically for itself, obviously because the games are different in virtual reality, same with video watching, all those kinds of things, not to mention FaceTiming, things like that in VR. Apple has reportedly demonstrated this technology to its board members in May. Obviously, that would be something that their investors would be very interested in. And as we are all moving towards virtual reality or augmented reality, this is something that I think is incredibly important. And so I go ahead and say, I'm not going to dive into the metaverse anymore, on top of this, but understand that if basically a big tech company like Apple can store the uniqueness that is your eyeball or the uniqueness that is your facial expressions, aka Meta, Apple might be able to do that the same way as well, then they've got something that is intrinsically yours. And how they store that, who they sell it to, how they data mine you to perfect their advertising, etc., is a huge problem. And if you don't think Apple does that, what do you think their iTunes store is for? How do you think they make predictions on what you like? If you've never listened to country western in your life, are they giving you country western selections? Or vice versa, if you only listen to country western, why are you getting Metallica? You're not. They are honing this continuously based on your preferences to sell you more effectively. And if they've got something where you're seeing an ad through these Apple VR glasses or Meta's VR glasses, and you're like, wow, like that is really cool, guess what you're getting advertising for, because now they can see it. Not to mention the fact they can possibly diagnose you psychologically through this, and that is something that we've seen through simple things like Cambridge Analytica, just going through what you're posting and how you're looking at things on Facebook. Now they're turning it up to the nth degree because your facial expressions are uniquely yours. It's a biometric. It should be protected. It is in some places like Illinois, but not everywhere, and that's a huge problem. So heads up, Apple users, you're going to get data mined to the nth degree as you have your trendy new glasses that you can share. And why can you share it and how it knows? Because it has to track your stuff. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP, where you will be data mined, but not nearly as much as in the metaverse or virtual reality. Same with YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private. Thanks, everyone.